My name is Stephany Ann. I'm an attorney, an author, a thought leader, and a speaker. And today I'm here to share my story of overcoming narcissistic abuse. I found myself on the floor of my sister's bathroom, just tears streaming down my cheeks, like, why me? What did I do wrong? I was a good person. I lived a good, seemingly good life. Yet in that moment, I couldn't see past all the pain and suffering that had engulfed my life for so many years. I lost everything in Hurricane Ian. I lost everything in a house fire. I had a child that was born with a really rare genetic disorder. My stepson's mother died of COVID, and all of a sudden I went from 3 boys to 6 boys, all under the age of 14. So for me, it was understanding what happened to me. A narcissist is someone who has all the specific traits that come together to make up a narcissist. So what are the base ingredients of a narcissistic trait? It's an inflated sense of self-importance and entitlement. It's this grandiose view of oneself, kind of like the flower that holds everything together, that provides the structure for the other traits to build upon. A narcissist believes they're special, superior, and deserving of constant admiration and attention. And so for me, I didn't know anything about narcissism. I didn't know what it was. And so as I'm sitting here wondering what just happened to me, how did all my choices and decisions lead me to this hurricane catastrophe of the mind that was playing out in my reality, I realized and I learned that both my ex-husbands were narcissists. And my marriage to my second husband ended in a narcissistic rage. And that is how I found myself on the floor of my sister's bathroom, wondering what I had just went through. The cycle of narcissistic abuse, there's the idealization phase, the devaluation phase, and the discard. So my second husband, when I first met him, I thought I was doing everything right. I manifested him. How many of us have done that? We make a list of all the traits that we're looking for in a person and we throw it out into the universe. And so I did all that, and a week later I meet a man who fits every single thing on my list. And so when we start talking and he starts mirroring back to me, when he started doing all of that, I believed him when he said we are soulmates. One, because he was a 100% mirror back to me. He was mirroring my values. Everything that was important to me, he was mirroring it. And so when you meet someone who mirrors you 100%, it's like, wow, I have found my person. And it feels like a fairy tale, because in true reality, no one is 100% mirror. And so he was wonderful. He was kind. He was loving. We really got to know each other. He wanted to get to know me. He could see me. And how many of us we want to be seen in relationships? He passed the brother-in-law test. My brother-in-law was an OSP sergeant and a former Marine. He charmed him as well, because I went to my brother-in-law and said, what do you think of this guy? He said, he's great. He's wonderful. I really like him, Stephany. And that's what the idealization phase is. They mirror you, and it's a honeymoon. And so I tell people, because so many people ask, well, how do you know? What are the red flags? Well, when you're in that honeymoon stage, you don't see any red flags. Again, they are a perfect mirror. And so you don't pay attention to the red flags. Yeah, in hindsight, I could go back, okay, he drank a lot, but it didn't seem excessive at the time. I later found out that his choice of alcohol was vodka, and he would drink a 5th a day or more, but you could hide it, and he hid it very well. And I wasn't looking for that. I wasn't looking for the red flags because he was so perfect. And so many of us do that when we think we found this person who is so perfect. We don't want to lose this person, so we can close our eyes and blind ourselves to some of the traits and behaviors that maybe it's not that bad. And so that's the first stage of narcissistic abuse. It is wonderful. It is perfect. They put you on this pedestal, and then you get hooked in it. And so we quickly moved in together, and we quickly got married. And so everything was wonderful. And then 2020 hit, and that's when his mask came off, and that's when the devaluation phase happened. What happened was, once they know you're hooked, once they know they're secure, they can let their guard down and they can truly be themselves. When the honeymoon is over, I forgot we have to go to work. Oh, we have children. We come down from the clouds and reality hits. And the world shut down, his mask came off, and it was so confusing. So one moment we wake up and he's wonderful, he's loving, he's kind. He was the man I fell in love with during the idealization period. Another time I wake up, he's mean, he's angry, he's raging. We start to walk on eggshells. This is when the manipulation and the gaslighting starts to happen. And I know that because I spent so many years living with someone who is constantly gaslighting. And so what you have is, during this devaluation phase, they're good, they're mean, they're good to you, they're mean to you. It creates this fog, and this fog we call cognitive dissonance. It's where you hold two conflicting beliefs about a person. So one belief over here on this hand, he's wonderful, he's kind, he is the man who I fell in love with. I know he's in there somewhere, he's just having a hard day. Then you have over here on this side, he's mean, he's hateful, he's revengeful, He's not the person I fell in love with. Why is he doing all this? Why won't he just love and respect me like a regular person? Two conflicting beliefs. It's cognitive dissonance. This is the fog. So if you feel yourself is in this fog and you have two conflicting beliefs, it is because of the devaluation and then the love bombing, the devaluation and the love bombing. And all of this cognitive dissonance creates a trauma bond. And a trauma bond, I say it's much like a drug addiction. And I used to tell my ex-husband, I used to say, God, I feel like I'm addicted to you, and I don't know why. It's not like he was doing anything to make my life wonderful, but at the same time, they can't be mean the entire time because we would all leave. We would all leave. If 100% of the time they were 100% mean and abusive, nobody would stay with them. And so this cognitive dissonance creates a trauma bond. And similarly, when you're in an abusive relationship, a toxic relationship, and you have this trauma bond, we stay because we say, maybe this time I'm going to get the man I fell in love with. I'm going to get the woman I fell in love with back. We stay believing, and we take all the little tensions, the little love bombs they give us, hoping that maybe the next one will be the one that brings the person back, the person we fell in love with, the person we know is genuinely inside this person. But here's the whole illusion of it all. It was never real in the beginning. That person that we idolized, that person that we fell in love with, wasn't real. And so we sit here and we change all these things about ourselves. Well, maybe if I lose weight, maybe if I go to the gym, or maybe if I can make dinner right tonight, maybe if I could just love him more, just love her more, I'll get that person back. And so this keeps us stuck in this cycle. And it is very similar to an addiction. We become addicted because we want their attention. And I remember so many times I would sit there, I just wanted him to notice me. Just look at me, just notice me. And so we stay and we endure so much, hoping and praying that the version of them would return, and they never do. And the longer we stay, the cycle, the devaluation becomes more of the norm. The love bombs become less and less and less. And they have not changed, but we have changed so many parts of ourselves trying to get them back. Until some of us, we either start hiding and burying parts of ourselves, which is what I did. It was easier just to go along than to share my opinion, to really show him who I truly was. I hid those parts of me because he didn't deserve to see them, and because I was still trying to figure it all out. What happens again, and I want to bring this up too, because I haven't really talked about this very much, and I haven't heard other people talk about it. It is the thoughts we think when we're alone, the thoughts we think before we go to bed at night. And so me, being in this toxic relationship, when he, in the beginning, in the idolization phase, my dreams, the thoughts I thought before drifting off to sleep, I would dream about our adventures. I would dream about this fairy tale life we were creating. I would dream about our families and our children. I would dream about maybe having kids with him one day. I would dream about all this beautiful fairy tale stuff that that we wanted. Well, during the devaluation phase, when I would go to bed at night, my dreams were very different. The thoughts I would think before I fell asleep were negative. They were, who is this person? Why is he so mean? I hate my life. This isn't the life I signed up for. I didn't agree to any of this. And I would sit and I would fantasize in my mind about a different life. What would my life look like if I was not in this relationship? Our dreams, the thoughts we think about when we are drifting off to sleep, mirror our life the next day. This is really profound, because how many of us in these abusive relationships, how many of us start entertaining these other thoughts of what would my life look like if I were out? I know it happens because I did that. I started to imagine what my life would look like. And this was only when he was mean. When he was nice, then we go back to, oh, okay, it's wonderful. He just had a bad day. We justify it. And so our thoughts, pay attention to your thoughts right before you fall asleep. What are you thinking about? What are you falling asleep to? Are you like me, where we fall asleep crying almost every night that I hate my life? I don't want this. Because remember, my mind was like a hurricane had gone off in my mind. All the confusion, all the cognitive dissonance, all the drama, trauma, chaos, all of this disorder that was happening in my world was happening in my mind. It was very confusing. And I know that if others if this resonates, you know what I'm talking about. You know how confusing it gets up here. So the devaluation phase, it can last for as long as you can keep up. It's exhausting. It will age you. It will turn you into a person you're not. So what happens next? The discard. The discard is the final stage of narcissistic abuse. And the discard is exactly what it sounds like. What do we discard? We discard garbage. We discard things that we've used up and no longer serves a purpose in our life. We toss it. And that's what happens during this phase. The narcissist has used you up, or you're no longer playing the game, and they discard you and they walk away for something else. And so I always tell people there are two ways out. You either get discarded, which you have no control over, and it's very heartbreaking and hard to go through, feeling like you've just been thrown away, or you find all the courage and all the worthiness within yourself and you walk away. And it takes a lot. And so when people do walk away, when I walked away, it took multiple times of me leaving before I left for good. Why is that? You know, there's a statistic out there that says it takes, 6 to 8 times of leaving before you actually leave. Why? Let me explain it to you, because I really believe that knowledge is power. And when you understand why you're doing certain things, it gives you power. Imagine a circle. Here's a circle and a horizontal line in the middle of it. The upper part of this circle is your conscious mind. The lower part is your subconscious mind. Now, our conscious mind, it can think, it can reason, it can originate a new idea. And everything that is impressed on our conscious mind that we emotionalize drops down into our subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind is where we hold our beliefs, where we hold our habits, where we hold our patterns. That's all in the subconscious. When someone is thinking about leaving, that's a change, right? Change, no matter what, is challenging. And so you have this person, me, who starts entertaining this idea. I'm going to sleep at night. I'm dreaming. What would my life look like if I left? Could I make it on my own? Do I have all the finances? What about my kids? What's a divorce going to look like? How am I going to leave? But you want something better, because you know that there's something better out there, and you know that you are done being treated the way you've been treated. So you start entertaining this idea. And so this new idea of leaving comes into your conscious mind. And as soon as it comes into our conscious mind, doubt and worry. Am I going to make it? He told me no one would ever love me. He told me I can't make it without him. And so doubt and worry. And when we start to emotionalize that doubt and worry in our subconscious mind, it becomes fear. And fear manifests in our body as anxiety. And so you have this bright idea to leave, but now you have all this anxiety. I can't go. I can't go. You get to the front door. What's he going to do to me? And so we don't go. A couple weeks go by. The devaluation is bad. Maybe there's some rage. You want to go. This time, the doubt and worry goes in your mind. There's still fear but you make it to your friend's house and you spend 2 nights there. I did it. You made it. You go back because again, the fear, the paradigm, the beliefs are very strong. Anxiety, it's getting to you. I can't breathe. You go back. Maybe a month or 2 later, you try again. You got to get out of the house. This time you spend a week. You're getting stronger. You're changing that paradigm. You're changing that belief system. And so the more you become emotionalized with the idea that you can leave, that you will be okay, that resources will be there, that there is a community out there that will support you and love you and walk you through all of this, the more you start to believe that, the fear starts to go away. And you can trample through that terror barrier. I call it the terror barrier. And so why does it take 6 to 8 times? Because you're changing your paradigm. You're changing your belief system. And that sometimes takes a little bit of time. It takes repetition and practice. I mean, how do we get these beliefs in our head? Through repetition. How did all the gaslighting affect us? Through repetition. And so through repetition, we can change all of that. And so give yourself grace and have compassion with yourself, because this is one of the hardest things to do, is to walk away. And I know that because I've had to do it twice. It was very hard, and I had to leave everything behind. When I left my second husband, I had to leave my baby because I couldn't find it. So I had to leave my baby. But thankfully, it was only just 2 weeks and I got him back. I had to leave everything I owned because I needed to get out of there. He shut off all my bank accounts, locked me out of everything. I broke my cell phone, but I made it. And I kept going, believing that it would get better, believing that I could do it, because I was worthy of so much more. And you are worthy of so much more. And once you realize that, then you, like myself, can start cleaning up your mind as well. Now, when I go to sleep at night, I dream about the beautiful life I'm creating for me and my children. I fall asleep thinking about, yes, I am an international best-selling author. Yes, I am a strong, powerful woman and mother. Yes, I went through a lot, but I am here to empower others. And I see myself on stages. I see myself writing books. I see myself speaking in front of everyone, because I truly believe that we create our reality. And as I said in the beginning, I needed to let go of that victim story and become the hero of my story. And every day I work towards becoming that hero of my story. And you also can become the hero of your story when you let it go, when you let them go, and when you know that there is something more for you, something beautiful for you. And you will get through this. For a long time, my mantra was, I'd be like, this is too hard. It's hard, but it's not impossible. And I can do hard things, and I will get through this. And I did. And I am a living testament to 20 years between 2 ex-husbands of narcissistic abuse, of how we can create a completely different reality. We can become a completely different version of ourselves, one that is healed, healthy, and it just takes you making that choice today.